Yeah, coming back from that, I remember when you guys announced that you were showcasing in the USA, and I was fully invested in this at the time, and I don't know if you remember this, but somehow I don't know how this happened. I somehow got a hold of I think it was your Hotmail address, and I added you to my MSN contact list at the time. And I remember seeing you pop online, and I was like, "Hey man, how's the jet lag going? How's the USA trip?" And you wrote back and you said, "Yeah, all good. Just got in. We'll see how it goes."
Yeah, right. What a rude bastard. I was probably jet lagged. We'll put it down to that.
Yeah.
That was an interesting time, man. You know, like that was such a pivotal moment for Superheist, and I've touched on this a little bit lately because it seems to be quite relevant. You know, we were doing very well in Australia, and I guess in that genre, us and Sunk Lodo were probably leading the charge, and a bunch of labels in the States, major labels, paid or helped chip in to get us over there to showcase for them. You know, it's probably cheaper for us to go there than all of them to come here, so to speak. And so we off we went, and we played at this it's like a rehearsal venue that has like a showcase room, and it's like this awesome bar, and you know, red curtains everywhere, real plush mahogany, and it's a real sick little room, you know, great PA. And so we did this showcase gig. There's no one else in the room except for the A&R people and management people. We had a US manager at the time who was affiliated with Papa Roach, and a guy called Gary Avila. He was able to help us bring more labels down to see what was going on. And we did really well. Like we played our hearts out, and we did really well, and that turned into more private showcases for more labels. And you know, we ended up like playing in the Viper Room at 2:00 in the afternoon to like one guy, you know, one A&R guy, you know. And,
wouldn't it be so hard to
just kind of like,
it'd be so hard to inject that energy into that performance.
Well, it's not, man, because you're playing for your life. You know, you're like, here's my moment. You know, what I do now matters a lot. So you just throw everything into it, whether there's people there or not. You know,
yeah.
You just play with all the passion you can muster and try not to fuck up. So anyway, it's interesting, you know, like, and I'll talk about this. I don't know if I've talked about this publicly before, but we played at that Viper Room showcase was to a guy called Jordan Scher, who had signed Limp Bizkit, right? And I remember being down, there's this little downstairs hangout room, and we were getting changed down there, and I'm saying to Berger, I said, listen, man, I reckon we should drop all of our hip-hop influenced stuff off this set list and just play the more rock stuff, like, you know, Bullet, and, you know, those sort of songs that they're not too hip-hoppy. Let's not do Crank the System, you know, stay away from that stuff. And he's like, nah, man, that's Jordan Scher out there. He signed Limp Bizkit. I'm like, exactly. He signed Limp Bizkit because they were the best at what they were doing. We're not the best at that, but we're fucking good at the other stuff. Let's do that. Anyway, we had this mini kind of argument before we went on stage. And we played the set list just as he wanted to, right? And when we got off stage, and we fucking killed it. Like, we nailed it. And we're standing around Jordan Scher, right? We're standing in a semicircle, and he's standing there. And there's only one other person, or two managers standing over in the corner. There's not a sound in the room, you know? We're standing in a semicircle like that. And he goes, love your rock thing, lose the rap thing. I already signed Limp Bizkit. Have a nice day.
Sounds like
you just look at Berger and be like,
I'm like, you know? And I look back at that and laugh, but that didn't really, I mean, that was just him. There was a lot of labels that were very interested in what we were doing. And And we came back to Australia. So that was like August, the end of August 2001, right? And there was a couple of weeks where we were getting offers from labels overseas, and the bids were getting higher and higher, and there was really quite a buzz, and it was looking like we were going to land a really solid record deal in the US. And then I remember sitting watching Talking Footy one night, and Berger calls me up and he says, change the channel. And I changed the channel over to whatever he said, channel 9, channel 10. And it was footage of these airplanes flying into these tall buildings in New York. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And they're saying it was a Cessna aeroplane at first. And then, as we know, the story turned out that it couldn't have been any worse, right? They all fell down, and America effectively shut shop after 9/11 completely on all levels of commerce until February the next year. Come February the next year, no one remembers Superheist.
And that was exactly your golden time.
No one remembered Superheist because their worlds had just collapsed. They'd been attacked, like first time since Pearl Harbor, and they were just freaking out. And we never really were able to get the hook back on the line, and then that really put a lot of strain on the band. Because we were so close, and we'd worked so hard for that. And, I was kind of pushing Berger to stop doing the rap stuff, and he wanted to do more of it. And eventually the relationship broke down with Berger and the rest of the band. And as we know, he moved on, and we had to get a fill-in singer who ended up being Joey Byro, who stayed for an album. We did a really good album with him. Identical Remote Control Reactions. But yeah, definitely a very interesting time around 2001, 2002 for Superheist.
Yeah, I wanted to say that I think, in my opinion, that Identical Remote Control Reactions almost goes underappreciated by many of the fans of the band. For me, it really was... I think for myself personally, it was probably one of my favourite eras of the Heist, because I caught you guys at that opening slot, I think it was, at the Gold Coast Big Day Out in 2002.
Oh, what a gig that was. That was awesome. Yeah.
It was fantastic. And we went into it not knowing really who was on vocals at the time. We just heard you guys had sorted it and you would be there. And you opened it up, and we were blown away. Like, all the old songs were played perfectly, and then I think we got a taste of was it Ready to Burn?
Oh yeah.
At that show as well.
We did play it there. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I ran into Joey and Feta afterwards. Did I say Feta or Fatah? Fatah, yeah, and I was blown away from such a great day. And after, sort of hearing about how he stepped down from the band and then Joey stepped in, there was no doubt in my mind that the Heist were going to continue and in full force.
Well, and a credit to Joey, because he really was thrown in the deep end, like he how that came about was, the relationship had broken down quite severely with Berger and the band, and one night he just wouldn't get out of the van to get on stage. And
so he was there.
Yeah, he was there, right? And he's like, okay, I'll tell the full story. He did a colon cleanse the night before, right? And I said, don't do it, man. Don't do a fucking colon cleanse right before a show. Are you insane? So he does a colon cleanse. He's too crook to go on stage, right? And I'm so pissed off because I fucking told him, like, listen, man, you don't do a fucking colon cleanse right before a show. Anyway, I don't know if he was affected by it or it was just his excuse, but literally another race who are the main support band, they were just finishing up, and he's refusing to go on. And I'm like, well, man, if you're not going to go on, I'm going to find someone who's going to, because this is a sold out all ages show in Berwick. These kids have paid all their money. It'll be the death of us. We can't do this. So I go and speak to the singer from another race, and I'm like, dude, do you know any of the words to our songs? He's like, oh man, a couple, but I can't do a whole show. Plus I'm pooped from my show. I go, fair enough. So I go into the opening band's dressing room, and I'm like, who's your singer? Like, he's like, I'm a singer. I go, do you know any of our songs? He goes, yeah, I know all of them. I go, you know all the words? He goes, yeah, I know all the words. I go, good, you're singing. He's like, what? I go, yeah, you'll be fine. Come on. Berger's sick. He can't sing. You're singing. Anyway, throw this guy completely to the wolves, right? But we get on stage and we kick into the first song. We have to apologise to the crowd, obviously. Berger's crook. This guy's filling in. They're all like, this is shit, you know. We kick into the first song and it's like no one gave a rat's. They just all went berserk. They're all singing the words. They're all loving it. And they're all loving Joey for getting up and having a go. And the next day, we're supposed to leave it, you know, we're on stage. It was an all ages, you know, 10 o'clock, finish at 11:30 or whatever. And we're supposed to be on the road to Shepparton for the first of the Channel V music bus shows the next day. And Berger's like, I'm not going. And I ring my manager. He goes, we cannot cancel on Channel V. You know, they've put so much into this. This will be really bad. I'm like, okay, well, Berger's not coming, so Joey is. This said that Channel V music bus performance that was live to air was the night after Joey had never sung with Superheist ever before. And that was it. He just stayed in the band from that point because Berger just acted like a dickhead and then it was over. Love you, Berger. I do. You're one of my all-time best friends. You're like my brother, but you're a dickhead at the time. But I'm sure he thinks we were dickheads, you know. That's just what it is. But
I remember seeing the V-Bus roll into Coffs Harbour, and it was a surprise. The whole band was there, I'm pretty sure. And, yeah, it was cemented. He was in the band.
He was in the band, yeah, that's right. So, you know, that was it. And that was like, what the fuck do we do now, you know? And so we knew we really had to make a good record, you know, to, I guess, cement the inclusion of Joey and the absence of Berger. I mean, look, and it was a great album. Like, I'm really happy with that record for the most part. There's a few songs that I probably don't listen to very much, but it was a good record. And I get a lot of fans tell me how much that record means to them. You know, a lot, like probably more so than Prize Recruit. Everyone says, I love the Prize Recruit, but this one more affected them personally. Yeah. Which is interesting, I thought, you know. So, and yeah, so we did that, and Joey did very well, but it sadly didn't last. You know, I guess the rigors of being in a full-time band took its toll on Joey, and it didn't work out in the end. And at that point, we went back to our label and said, what do we do here? We'll have to get a third singer. And they're like, nah, we won't back that. I'm like, oh, whatever then. And that's it then. And then we thought about just ditching the label and doing it ourselves and finding another singer. And we'd all just been a bit worn out by it all. You know, it was all just too much disappointment. You know, so much opportunity lost. And it was very hard for the guys, you know. And so we decided to give it away at least, you know, for, you know, some time. It ended up being 13 years.